but my symptoms were mighty and high and were definitely getting in the way of me having any quality of life. Wasn't eating a lot of different foods, wasn't sleeping well, like panic attacks all the time, consistent digestive issues, stomach issues, major brain fog, a lot of irritability. My quality of life, yeah, like I said, was really low. I played my first full show last Thursday where I played a full 45-minute set. I don't get nervous anymore. My nervous system doesn't do anything. I just kept going, kept showing up. I know how authentically I'm living by the way that people respond to the music that I write. Like just the overwhelmingly just positive, people coming up to me and just saying the most wonderful, beautiful, supportive things, commenting on my voice and my songs. And
How's it going, Thrivers? Miguel here from CFS Recovery. In this video, we have Eric, who is coming back for part two of his transformation video. We always like to check in, see how Thrivers are doing, and also to show you guys that, recovery, it's not just a one-time get lucky kind of thing. Life actually continues to get better and better, and recovery is sustainable. Once you start reintegrating back into the world, if you do it the right way, and you know exactly how to do it, you know exactly what you did to get better, then you can sustain that new level of health. So Eric is from Chicago, 41 years old. He worked with us about a year ago and had an amazing transformation. I'll actually put his video somewhere up here that you can click on. But today is all about, current day Eric. We'll touch on his past a little bit, and also, how he's reintegrating back into the world today. So, Eric, you want to quickly introduce yourself to everybody on here?
yes, my name's Eric. I joined the recovery program originally. I think it was like April-ish 2024, somewhere around there. And then
Mhm.
I finished the program like 6, 7 months later or so. And
Mhm.
it's all been mostly uphill, which is the good one. Things have been really good since.
Yeah. Yeah. So you joined about a year and a half ago. Then
Yeah.
yours was fairly quick. Within 6 or 7 months, you were you were like crushing it, and you actually didn't need much of our help anymore after that. I remember we did our first interview here, and now it's about a year later. So maybe just let's go back in time a little bit, very briefly, to touch on where you were at when you were sick. What kind of symptoms were you feeling, just so people could get a snapshot of, you know, where you were at before. So, what kind of symptoms were you feeling, and yeah, what was it like?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't, like, bedbound like some people were, but my symptoms were mighty and high and were definitely getting in the way of me having any quality of life. Wasn't eating a lot of different foods, wasn't sleeping well, like, panic attacks all the time, consistent, digestive issues, stomach issues, major brain fog, um, a lot of irritability, just my quality of life, yeah, like I said, was really low.
Yeah, and I mean, at your worst, I can't remember. You weren't bedbound, right? But you were
Yeah.
housebound for a lot of the time.
I worked from home, but,
Yeah.
like, I went to the hospital, like, the emergency room a few times for like, I would have these panic attacks that were so intense, and I had anxiety, like, we've kind of discussed this before where, this doesn't happen overnight. The deeper I dove, I realized this is something I had been dealing with for probably 20 years. And it was kind of like this. And then for me personally, COVID is what pushed me over the edge. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, I would be up literally all night with my heart feeling like it was gonna just like pounce out of my chest. Um, and I would go to the hospital a bunch for like what I thought was like low blood sugar, and like my face would get really pale, and then they'd take my vitals and they'd be like, "You're fine,"
Mhm.
which, man, I have so many thoughts on. You're fine.
I hear it every day, man. You're fine. Oh, your vitals are amazing. I wish I had your test results. The amount of times I heard that, doctors saying, "Wow, I wish I had your test results. They're actually really good." It's not something you want to hear when you go in there looking for answers,
Yeah,
right? So it's crazy.
I think man, once you recover and from something like your nervous system, you really start to notice it in other people, and just like this feels like a major missing component to, I think, health, like people's health in general, whether it's proper sleep. Like it's something I think that erodes at people for a really long time. Like you have the analogy of like the rubber band and the rubber band
Yeah.
snapping. The thing is like that's so stretched for so many people for so long, and even if people's don't snap and they crash, it's like they're living like that, and they're going to be probably pretty symptomatic, not quite like bedbound, but like it is severely impacting their lives and
Hmm.
learning what it means to have a regulated nervous system. And like you just recognize it in people now. What's interesting is like I was really attracted to other people like who had solid nervous systems, but I never really knew what it was that I thought was so like magnetic about them. And now once I learned about it, I was like, ah, I think people who are really calm and collected and are regulated is what I was craving for myself for a really long time.
Hmm. It's really interesting because once you go through this journey, now you know what it's like to have a dysregulated nervous system and also what it's like to have a regulated nervous system. So when you
Mhm.
go out into the world, you can almost notice it when you're in public. Like for example, I there's a handful of parents like they'll bring their kids to a soccer game and they're like, yeah, half these parents they're very unregulated. They're like
Yeah,
freaking out on the sidelines, yelling at the ref, and they know that okay, that person's nervous system is probably jacked up. And you're right about that. There's some kind of magnetism or aura of somebody who does have a regulated nervous system. It's almost like this grounded, calming, just nice energy versus like a frantic kind of energy, you know?
it's
So,
how we respond to everything. Like,
yeah.
how are you like pivoting to things? How do you respond to your child screaming and crying? How do you respond to criticism? Like I used to be so much more defensive, and now I feel like I can just like take it and either allow myself to be human or just it doesn't like rattle me like it used to. Which
Mhm.
just which when we're not defensive and we're not responding negatively to things all the time, it allows such a much more interesting, dynamic, deep, authentic experience with life as a whole.
Mhm. I read somewhere that, you know, the state of your nervous system or how regulated it is, you can measure it by like how adaptable you are to
Mm,
situations. And I thought, that actually makes a lot of sense, whether it's, a change of temperature or a change of environment or even a change of conversation. Like, how well can your nervous system adapt to that? Now, when we're in
perfect.
the trenches of this, right? Somebody can just turn the heater off and it gets a little bit colder, your nervous system starts freaking out.
Yep.
Or someone can say one sentence and we feel like or, our body gets overwhelmed with symptoms just from somebody saying one sentence. So adaptability, I always looked at that as kind of the golden measure of how well I was doing. Well, how I was responding to symptoms. That's the number one golden measure. But what does that look like in the real world? How adaptable are you to situations? So, for you now, what kind of lessons or things have you applied into your daily life, even to this day? Could be even just a couple things that you learned throughout recovery that's still useful in the real world.
I mean, I use it every day in my life for like so many different things. And it becomes even more important, right? So it's like when we first start off practicing responding well, it's like in a vacuum, right? We're like in our little safe place. It's usually maybe just us, and we're mostly left alone. I mean, I don't want to speak for everyone, but that's kind of the gist, right? And then as we start to recover, and then even come into the life again, the stakes become higher, the situations become more intense, the what's required of us in a moment is going up and higher and higher and higher, right? Because we're intentionally trying to expand. So all of that stuff is incredibly relevant on a daily basis. Like that's just not going to go away.
You know.
And that comes in two parts. So the first part is we I had been practicing not responding really well to things for a very long time. So it's unreasonable for any of us in the recovery to expect that we're going to respond really well to things because we don't even know where like the negative responses are even coming from. And like training ourselves to even like have that alarm off and be like, oh, why did I react that way? And like taking the time to like meditate on it or not, or just decide to respond better to it. And what I think is so powerful about this is there's a lot of theories about having to like dive deep into traumas and to dive deep into things that like are deep in the recesses of our psyche and our DNA that like sometimes it's just impossible to find and to figure out where it's coming from, right? So there's such a like relief to not have to know all the nuances of like why we respond negatively to something. Like it doesn't matter anymore. Like I don't need to do that. I don't need to like dive deep into like my childhood or this or that. Like not that I don't try to sometimes to try to like have a deeper relationship with myself, but sometimes like your memory just doesn't like remember things correctly. So just taking situations individually and learning to train myself step by step is so empowering. And then, like I said, it's something that I just continue to do.
Mhm. That's so true, and something that ties to what you just said there, like, some people feel like they need to go deep, deep, deep back into their past to, perhaps something happened or there was a perceived traumatic event, which for some people it's needed, but majority of the people we've come across, it's not needed. But people get so hyper focused on like, I need to fix
Mhm.
that one thing. If I fix it, then everything else is going to be good to go. But it's not the case. And a lot of it comes down to understanding what's in your control. Because even
Mhm.
with certain things that have happened, you can't go back in time and change certain things. You can change your perceptions around it, though.
Mm.
And I always like looking at things from that lens of what can I control? What can I not control? And even today, to this day, I still use that. And it's been, what is it, 7 or 8 years since I got out of the hospital. But that is the one thing that I've taken with me. It's like 3 foot world. What can I actually control? What can't I control? And I find a lot of the things that I sometimes worry about, and just initially, it's just a natural thing to worry. A lot of those things actually aren't even in my control, or it may happen in the future, but it hasn't even happened yet. So I think there's a difference between like actual preparation for things and being overly prepared or over obsessive with
Mm.
certain outcomes. I think it's good to be prepared, but, with a hypersensitive nervous system brain, that can go downhill very quickly because we'll over prepare for 100 different situations that will probably not happen. So that was a big one for me. It was understanding what's my control and realizing that it was very little compared to what I thought I had control over. That was a big wake up call. That was helpful for
Do
me.
you think control is a thing for a lot of people? Because
Yeah.
even you mentioning it, it's like I don't even consider myself ever to be a controlling person, but I loosened up so much in so many little ways that I did not realize. But I think I don't think I was always like that. It was something that slowly I became like when my world was just shrinking and shrinking, shrinking, shrinking. It was like you start to over control everything, like making sure my day plays out a certain way, making sure, just how people respond to me or interact with me, and it's like it's so easy to like not realize, you know, like how you think and how we, perceive the world and how we engage with the world until you really start
Hmm.
looking at it and being like, oh my god, what was I doing? Like,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. I think it's almost like this sense of freedom we have when our world gets smaller and smaller. You're not able to leave the house or do all of these other things you're used to doing, then you don't have freedom in those areas of life. So you redistribute that freedom in those areas of life into the areas you do have control over. So a lot of times I see people who are recovering, let's say they go from athlete to like being stuck on the couch. Well, normally they could control their body, they could control running
Mm,
down the field. Because they can't do that, now they take all that energy and just hyper focus it on something they can control. So it seems like they want that feeling of being able to make decisions or have some kind of independence, but it turns into, okay, well, let me analyze everything I could do within the house. At least it feels like I'm making these decisions about my body and what I do. But then we get like it's a whole downward spiral from there because then you start overthinking and ma- making too many decisions that don't even need to be made. But it's the sense that you're making decisions about your life. It's almost like
yeah.
an illusion, but that only digs you deeper into the hole. So I think it's like an unintentional control thing, you
Without
know.
knowing how much more interesting our life could be without that, right? When
Hmm.
we allow ourselves to just surrender, I'm getting a little spiritual here. Surrender the universe or whatever you want to call it. Surrender to the flow of life, whatever you connect to. Life becomes 10,000 times more interesting. Like,
Hmm.
and I'll get to how much like my life has expanded in so many ways in the last, like this year in particular,
Oh man.
where it's like, oh, I'm not. I literally couldn't go back if I wanted to because so many opportunities and new people and new experiences and just keep happening because I'm living more authentically.
Yeah, yeah, dude, let's dive into it. I'd love to hear about like the different areas you've expanded, all the new things that have come up this year. So, yeah, walk me through it.
Yeah. So while I was sick, like I missed out on like a huge job opportunity. Like, and I talked about that in my last interview, and that was like really hard for me because like a really cool company in a director position, it would have been a huge thing for my career.
And just so
Uh,
people understand, it's creating video games, right?
yeah, so I'm a animator and art director. I do like lighting, environments, but mostly animation. So that was, I did like a interview art test, and I was just like, I like literally couldn't do it, and I had to ask for more time, and like it was just a mess, and I had made it past like the first two interviews, so it was like the final part of it too. And so that was a huge blow for me, and I remember just feeling really down about it. So fast forward to now, I had a stable job that I had been doing the whole time, um, but that would have been a huge promotion for me. So I went back to that and was still doing that, and it was still fulfilling me in a lot of ways. Um, but this year, um, I actually another job opportunity came up, and I got like an even bigger promotion. It's a senior position,
Mm.
working for a really awesome mobile game company that has like it's a huge team. It's like 40 people, and it's literally the perfect, like everything about it is perfect for me, and I feel like I've just been attracting all these positive things for myself. Um, like the people I work for, the people I work with, the whole thing has just been it's been like it's a promotion. It's going really well, and I'm like thriving in the position, like creating some of the best work that I've created in my life. So
Dude,
it's really
that is epic. That's so
yeah
cool to hear that, especially because you had an opportunity last year that you really wanted that you had to turn down because of your health, and then an even bigger opportunity came along down the road. So, I mean, that happened so many times to me. I thought this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. I'm losing all these things that are on my plate. When I got sick, I was thinking of all the things I was losing in
Mm,
real time, just
yeah
slipping through my fingers, not realizing that. And this is a quote I have in my brain now, but it, a setback is usually a setup for something down the road, something bigger and better. And Steve Jobs also had a quote: "You can't connect the dots looking forwards, you can only connect them looking back." And
yeah
once you look back, then things start to make sense. Because had you not been sick or gotten sick, then you probably wouldn't have this position, right? Because you'd
yeah
be working
that,
in the
dude.
other job,
That
right?
in itself, that's the hardest thing for people to recognize. Being sick is an opportunity to become the person that you are meant to be. Period. Like
Yeah.
If you are sick, it means that you are not living authentically. It means that your mindset towards life, towards yourself, towards others is not in a good space. Like that's just that is the truth. And it's hard to swallow and it's hard to be super honest with ourselves. But it's an opportunity to like reevaluate everything and to just throw it away and start fresh. Like I started questioning every preconceived notion about myself, being like, do I actually feel this way about this? Do I actually feel this way about that? And really opening my mind to who I am. You know what's crazy? I literally borderline gaslit myself into thinking I was an introverted person while I was sick. I convinced myself that I was, which is crazy. I am not an introverted person. I'm kind like I work. That's how I recharge my batteries. But I love people. I love going out. I love doing things. And this year, okay, so even build upon this. Um, so I hit a point where this year, last year, it was I was focusing on health, and I, uh, you know, brought the CFS program was brought to me. So this year, my goals were authenticity, and that was like that's my like overall arching goal is like learning who I am and being living as authentic as possible. So I started noticing things that I was doing while I was sick start to like not be as cool and interesting to me anymore. And I was like, what's happening? And I mean, these are things I like doing for a long time. And just, I was like, I felt myself just changing a lot, you know? And I work in games, but like playing video games is like a huge part of my life for like a really long time. And all of a sudden I was like, I don't want to play anything. I don't want to sit here. I don't want to do that. I want to go do something. So for the first time in 6 years, I picked up my guitar and I looked
Ooh.
online and I found an open mic and I learned a couple songs and I started playing. And it was hard. My heart was pumping. I had, it was, my nervous system was a wreck in the process, but like I showed up and I did it.
Wow.
And I had been I was a theater kid. Like, playing music and singing is something that was like a fundamental part of who I was as a person that I had completely forgotten about. So the response to me going was so positive, just like people, this, I was like, oh my God, I not only can I do this, I can actually really do this kind of on a high level, but my voice still wasn't where like my voice was not as strong as it used to be. And I didn't have the stamina to play a lot still at that point. Um, or at least like the energy to like go on stage, play in front of people, sing two songs. Like that was a lot, like that was a huge expansion moment, very intentional. But the experience was so positive that I was like, oh, I got to keep doing this. So this was back in March this year. And so I kept going and I kept learning new songs and I started like meeting people and started building a whole new community of friends that I didn't have before. And people like the type of people I hadn't hung around in a long time. And I'm like just making all these new friends. And now I'm going to like multiple open mics a week, like 2, 3 a week right now. And at some point, someone's like, have you tried writing your own music before? And I was like, I'd tried in the past. Like, I'd been playing guitar on and off my whole life, but never really, really tried. So he was like, I really think that you should. He's like, you're going to read this book and you're going to start trying to write your own music. And I was like, okay, you know, and I took that as a sign. Like, that's how I live my life. I live my life through excitement. I live my life through just things, the universe kind of pushing me in the direction that I need to go. So then I spent the whole summer writing music, and I ended up like completing a whole EP. Like so, six. I wrote about 15
Ooh,
songs. I got
holy
six.
cow.
By the way, one of them is about recovery, called "Rising from the Ashes."
Nice.
And I played my first full show last Thursday, where I played a full 45-minute set. I don't get nervous anymore. My nervous system doesn't do anything. I just kept going, kept showing up. And so yeah,
Holy
now I'm gonna
cow.
record this year and release it on Spotify and all that stuff. In a couple
Holy cow, dude. That is epic. And so you just picked up the guitar again this year. Like
yeah,
last year at this time, did you have any ideas or inclinations that you were gonna be doing this stuff? Like
none,
performing in
zero,
front of
zero
people?
percent, 0.0%.
That's crazy. So it kind of just popped up. You had this feeling, this pull to do something different, kind of shake things up a little bit. It was like a call to adventure. That's what I
Yeah.
like to name these things. I get that quite a bit, especially my first few years out of recovery. I get these pulls to go do this thing, go do that
Mm.
thing, go take that opportunity, go try it out and go fail. Just get it out of your system. It's like my because when you're stuck for so long, you realize like there's so many things to do in life if I were healthy, but I can't do it right now. So once you get back in the world, it's like your brain remembers that and it's like, hey, now that you're healthy again, you could do all this stuff. You should go do this thing. And sometimes we forget about it. So that is awesome, man. Like, is it
It's
just
so
acoustic
hard. Like,
guitar?
what's that?
Was it acoustic guitar?
Yeah, I just play acoustic guitar and sing, just me.
Man,
Um,
we got to see this one time.
I will.
You got to show.
I'll definitely share it with you when it's fully recorded. But the response to it has just been like
Oh,
I know how authentically I'm living by the way that people respond to the music that I write. Like just the overwhelmingly just positive, people coming up to me and just saying the most wonderful, beautiful, supportive things, being commenting on my voice and my songs and when I first started writing, I had like a list of tenets that I would follow where it's like I'm going to be super raw, vulnerable, honest, open. Like I am going to pour everything I have into it. So I was waking up every morning, dude. Every morning I wake up at 6 a.m. and I would go for a walk and I would walk and I would write for an hour, just on my phone, just writing. I would do some affirmations before I went, and I made it like it felt like a partnership with the universe, right? Like I was like a team effort, right? Like
mhm.
and it almost like sometimes when I would write, it felt like a almost like an out of body experience where it's just like flowing out of me and like I'm able to express myself in ways I wasn't able to before.
That's what it sounds
It's
like.
really
It sounds
cool.
like you've been in this flow state, especially
Yes.
when you're in a routine, waking up, writing those songs. I love being in that flow state, and it's that's how you kind of know you're on the right track, or it's something that is definitely aligned to you because it's an activity. It doesn't feel like work. You don't have to push yourself to do it. It's like you want to do it. It's
Mm,
like when you're doing other stuff, this thing is in the background being like, "Hey, let's go play guitar. Let's go do it." Like that's how you know you're aligned with the things you're doing. But also it probably like you said, it wasn't the easiest thing though to go up on that stage, right? And I think it's a good overall lesson of stepping into that discomfort and answering that call to adventure. And you had to
yes.
do that a lot of times in recovery, right? In order to get to the next level, you have to expand activity. And it's going to be uncomfortable, right?
It's
But you
very
do it anyway.
uncomfortable. I would
It's very similar.
my mouth would get I would have to bring up water and I would have to drink water like I would get so parched and my voice just there'd be times just like where I would go and I'd be kind of symptomatic that day, maybe going through a little bit of an AP. And I would just push myself to do it. And I'd be like, the thing that I keep telling myself is I'm safe. I'm safe. I'm safe. Like that is what I keep pounding away in my mind is like how safe I am. And it's like, thank you, nervous system, for trying to protect me. I see what you're doing. I understand why you're reacting this way, but we are safe. This is a good thing. This is something that brings us joy and happiness. And I know it's hard and I know it's scary, and that's okay. That is okay. And every time you show up for yourself and do it, it just gets a little bit easier every time.
Hmm.
And
And
I did that whole set on Thursday. I think I took one sip of water.
you're natural at it now. It just flows. And
Yeah.
this is a really good topic, especially for people further along on recovery. They're in that functional state. They can work, they can do certain things, but maybe they still have some things lingering and they're fearful of that last little bit. Um, but it's just once you understand how the nervous system works, like you built yourself up intentionally up to this point. You went from, being mainly housebound, sometimes difficult to leave the house because you were just so overstimulated. There were so many symptoms going on. You built yourself from that. That was just like a year and a half ago to playing up on stage in front of lots of different people for 45 minutes. Like that's a different Eric. Like
Yeah.
even just thinking about that, the old Eric thinking about that would probably have a panic attack
Oh my God,
just
dude.
thinking about it. for 5
It
seconds.
man, you know what sucked? It was really funny too because even when I first started going, I would be, like, sitting at the table waiting for my turn, I would just be like, "Gunk, gunk, 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 gunk," just a wreck. But it's like, just sitting in that discomfort, right? And then you get up there and you get through it, and I would get through it, and then I get to their side and be like, "See? Not only were we safe and it was okay, but, like, I come down, I get off the stage and people are like, "Oh man, that was really awesome. Like, really great job. Like, I love your music. I love your voice, blah, blah, blah." And just being like, "See, not only was it great and it felt good, and I would say like, "Oh man, like I wasn't really feeling well and in my head and people they don't see it." And I'm like, "See, it's fine. It's fine."
Mhm.
And having
It's
to
kinda
keep
like
bringing myself, that over and over again.
yeah, yeah, it's kinda like that skydiving analogy, like, you get all the gear on, you watch the safety videos, you spend hours doing that, then you go up in this airplane with a few other people, and right when you're about to jump, you know I've never been skydiving, but at least I've heard, I can
That's still gonna
imagine
be
it.
a hard pass for me. I don't care how excited I am, I'm not jumping out of a plane.
Yeah, but you're standing there by the door and you're like, "I don't know, should I do it? Should I not?" Everybody's terrified. Everybody's scared, because you want to do it, but then you're like, "What am I really doing with my life? What if the parachute doesn't open?" And so, there's 2 instances. One of them, that person really wants to do it. He's already decided to go up there and do it, right? But then he doesn't jump, right? And what does he feel when they get to the ground and he's at home sitting on his couch at the end of the day? He feels deflated, right? Versus the person who jumps and does it because they've had the training and they know what to do, they're with instructors or whatever, but they jump. Not only do uh, they feel good, they feel great. It's like a new experience for them, right? And uh, I feel like that has a lot of similarities with expanding in different areas of life. Now, it's not that intense. We're not jumping out of airplanes every day, but new experiences, right? And it
Yeah.
comes down to also trusting yourself. Like you were probably telling yourself, even if something bad happens, even if my heart feels like it's slamming in my chest, I know I'm going to be okay. Like I trust myself to be able to handle that. But you feel so much better when you follow through that certain thing, especially if
Go
it's something you
fail.
really wanted to do.
And
Yeah.
even if I tell myself, I'm like, "Go be bad up there. Go be bad. Try. Go try to be bad," which doesn't happen completely bad. Like, I have varying degrees. Like, I mean, I remember I had one night where, like, I tried to hit a high note really early on that just I I just couldn't hit that night. Um, but it's like even going into a situation being like, "Hey, this might not go well," and that's okay. Like, it legitimately is okay. And
Hmm.
it's the showing up and getting to the other side of it, like you said.
Yeah, exactly. It's being able to step into that discomfort, regardless of the outcome, being able to do that, like that is huge
Mm.
for the nervous system. And it's just another way to expand your capacity and your nervous system, because like how much stronger does your nervous system feel after doing something like that? Because you
Oh.
do get through that discomfort, but now it's like it's getting stronger and stronger every time you go up on that stage,
Mm.
because it's just what is it? You're feeding into that confidence, so it's like an upward spiral, but you had to get through that discomfort, right?
Yeah, and it's hard. I mean, it's easier said than done. You're really gonna ask yours a lot of yourself in that moment,
Mhm.
but it really does get easier every single time, which is why it's good to do it in, like, a safer safer, environment to start, but you do work your way up as you go.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, and it starts with baby steps, like, you play by yourself. I'm sure you just practiced, then you started singing, then you started maybe playing in front of friends or family, and then you did, like, a small stand-up mic, then built up from there after many, many repetitions, but it's probably at the point where it can start to feel second nature when you're up there, right?
Yeah, and
Um
to be honest, the following Friday, so I did a couple more open mics the next week, and that, Wednesday, I was like, "Ooh." I the scale, like are you a 1 to 10? And then, like, if you're like I don't remember exactly what it was, but this is how in my head it's like, if you're a 5 or 6, maybe you should slow down. If you're a 4,
Yeah.
like, you should push through sort of thing. I was definitely,
Mhm.
like, riding a 5 or 6. I don't usually go higher than that at this point now, and but then I went to another one the next night, and I really pushed myself. Friday comes around, and I took on Friday and Saturday, I took like 5 or 6 naps between 2 days. They were like cat naps or whatever, but that was the most tired I had felt probably in a year, and I was like, "Ooh, maybe I pushed it just a hair." But since then, it feels like my capacity has been even higher, even if I
Mhm.
still kinda rock a little symptoms here and there.
Mhm. Yeah, because you expanded that activity. And that's kind of how I approach it. Even life now, like I don't really get symptoms anymore. Maybe I wouldn't even call it a symptom, but I'll get tired if I work a lot, and then I'll feel
Which sounds
maybe
normal. I think that's just a
yeah,
normal human thing.
I think so. Or I'll get cold, like, I'll start shivering and stuff. I'll have to turn the heat up a little bit more, but I think that's more so, like, sleep deprivation. It's more so the
Yeah.
sleep. It's not really the activity because, yeah, I could go work out, I could go travel, like, a ton, pretty much unlimited activity, but it's more of a sleep thing for me. But I like putting myself in un uncomfortable positions actually every week. Um, I have this thing on my iPad, I do a weekly review of my life, and one of the categories is adventure. It's like, what kind of new experiences did I have this week? And I'll rate it from a scale of 1 to 10. And it could be as simple as eating at a new restaurant or going to a part of the city I'd never been to or changing up the routine, just something different. It's like my brain thrives on variety. So, yeah, no, the adventure part is good, but what else is on your radar or horizons? What else is in your
You ready for this
sights?
one? This is a really funny one. I randomly felt this intense urge to learn skateboarding. Something I've never done in my life, and
Really? I
yeah,
feel
so,
like
like,
you're rocking the what do you call
I
it? The
mean,
beanie. You
yeah,
look like a skateboarder.
I know. So my son has one that I bought him for Christmas, and I just was like, on my lunch break, I took it outside and I just started trying it. And I watched a couple videos to try to learn, and I was like, "Whoa, this is really fun and really enjoyable. How have I?" And I felt like kind of natural on it too. And so then my daughter was like, "I'm like, hey, do you want to go outside?" And she's got like a little scooter. She's turned 7 this year, and she's like, "Let's go to the skate park." And I was like, mm. And I'm like, and she's like, "No, Dad, we're going to the skate park." And I was like, "You know what? All right, let's go." So we went, and it was awesome. We were there at night. It was like 7 o'clock, 7 to 8 o'clock. The lights were on, and there were a bunch of people there, but there was enough room for me just to ride. And this guy came up to me. He's like, "Oh, did you start?" And I was like, "Yeah, today." And he's like, "Whoa!" He's like, "You're actually pretty good for your first day." And then I was like, "Yeah, but," I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm like, "Do you have any tips?" And he watched me. He's like, "Oh," he's like, "You do it kind of weird. Why don't you try to do it this?" And he taught me. And then it was just a super positive, experience. I did fall pretty hard at one point. And it felt like it actually kind of rattled my nervous system a little bit when I fell because I feel like I haven't fallen and like
Yeah.
had that kind of impact with my body in a long time. And so I definitely felt a little weird for like a day or so after that, but I did it again. Yeah, I've been just doing it every day since, and
Mhm.
that's been my APs are weird, man. Like I feel like I get mini ones, and then but it's always like at night. Like randomly, my symptoms will spike, and I'll get real brain fog, and then I'll get some kind of stomach issues, and then I'll just have to go to bed, but I'll wake up totally fine.
Mm. Yeah, that's pretty normal. That's pretty normal. I still had a bunch of weird stuff happening. It was just if it was a weird thing happening, I just assumed it was like, that's a little glitch right there. I don't know why it happened. There was no real cause for it because I wasn't really doing anything differently. It was just weird. But then at that point, I'd experienced so many weird things that I just kind of assumed that it was just a weird nervous system thing playing tricks on me. Actually, I got so good at just dismissing things. I almost got too good at it because you might have heard me say this in a group call one time, but I had a toothache. I'm like, nah, that's a nervous system. That's nothing. And it gets worse and worse and worse. So it's going on for like 3 weeks. And I had a root canal on this like front tooth. Anyways, 3 weeks goes by. The pain is unbearable. I'm like, okay, I should probably get this checked out. Go in there, and they're like, oh man, okay, clear off the next 2 people in the calendar. We need to operate on this right now. And they're like, Miguel, why didn't you come in sooner? This is an emergency root canal. Like, it's bad. You're like, there is a lot of pus. There's a big infection. How did you
Oh
not
my
come in
god,
earlier?"
dude.
And they did it right on the spot. I'm like, "Okay, I probably shouldn't ignore everything." So then I made a rule in my mind. I'm like, if I feel weird stuff for more than a week, then I should probably take it more seriously."
That's a good
But that's
rule.
the only thing that really lasted more than a week. That was really weird. But yeah,
That
that's my
is
little
that is ridiculous, dude. But you know what? Here's the you know what the trade-off of that is? Because I don't know about you, but I was super hypochondriac before,
Yeah.
and now I don't react to, like, every little bodily function that I have, which is so man, do you know how much more energy we have when we don't, like, nitpick all our day, for every little
Mhm.
thing that's happening? You're just like, "Oh, man, I don't feel completely defeated at the end of every day,"
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
is a
you don't
huge
realize how much of an energy drain that is. It's a huge energy drain, which is why I think when people come in, and they come into the academy, they just learn about the education and learn what's happening to them. It helps relieve a lot of stress and worry, and that alone, like, we don't even have to do anything differently. We're just taking away a lot of that worry, and with education, they already start feeling better because that energy leak isn't there isn't this huge, massive, gaping hole in that energy bucket. Like, it's still
ah,
there, but
energy leak,
it's
that's a great
actually
way of
out.
putting it.
Yeah, it's a huge energy leak. So for you now, when you're doing all this new stuff, well, fairly new as of this year, skateboarding, you got the music going, playing guitar,
New job.
singing, yeah, new job. So it's like
That was
a
also the new job was definitely contributing to I was like, new job,
yeah,
playing
it's
a
a lot.
show,
Yeah, dude.
exercise, like, it was like my system was like, "All right, you
Yeah.
proved that you could do this. Go
Yeah.
to bed."
Yeah. And for you, because as you expand, like, even when people are perfectly fine, sometimes for a couple years, they'll take that next step of doing some other big activity or new introduction of, something different. There's still in the back of their mind that little bit of worry of like, is this going to make me flare up? Is this, can I do this thing? Did you have some of that discomfort and you kind of talk yourself through it
Mm.
with all of these new opportunities? Kind of walk us through that because I had the exact same thing because it was a new height, a new level I hadn't reached yet or gotten back to. So walk us through what was
Yeah, it
going through
goes
your
back to
mind.
just being safe, like I was saying earlier. Like, I still I think food is still kind of a thing too sometimes. Like, I made a pretty, high histamine dish, which, I don't know for you, but histamine was like a real sensitivity, like allergenic things. So,
Mhm.
like, I made this dish that had like it was, like an Asian dish, which has a lot of, like, fermented stuff, and I had a pretty strong reaction to it, to the point where I was like I started feeling like almost like hot flashes, like, oh my goodness, what is happening to me? But again, it's like I just went laid down on the couch, got horizontal, just drank a lot of water, relaxed, put on a show, breathed, and honestly, within like an hour, I felt fine.
Mhm.
It was just I had a little flare up. So some of the flare ups are like really tiny, and I'm able to like really talk myself through them, which sounds so weird, but it really is that reassurance, you giving yourself that reassurance, which I think is really, really
Mhm.
important. Even in bedtime, man.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah, I
don't know
would
you,
get
do
that.
you have a couple like new ones post recovery?
I never had new ones because I pretty much had every symptom in the book, like literally everything. So everything I would experience, it's stuff that I felt before. But a big one that I did have, uh, as I was, getting out of the hospital, reintegrating back into the world was irritability. Like, that was a big one for me. I don't know what exactly or why exactly that was. Maybe it was I was just so excited to get back into the world. So, like, if someone was talking
Yeah.
really slow, I'd start to get annoyed. I'm like, "Dude, just get to the point. I got life to live. Like, get to the point."
Mm,
Or, I found yeah, more so with communication. Like, if someone was talking really slow or they wouldn't get to the point, like, they tell a whole story when they could have said it in 2 sentences, I would start to get, um, I guess, impatient, mainly because I was like, "I got life to live." So, I do see that with a lot of people too, that irritability that tends to come up, for people.
I think part of it too is, and this is something like I said that we were talking about it before. that video you made about the plateau. I think part of the, you know, we stop paying attention to it as much, which is a good thing, but also like because it can kind of sneak up on you sometimes where we do still need to kind of pay attention to our bodies and our minds, right? Like where we're at and being like, hey, like even though I'm okay, maybe I should just kind of stay home and, keep it in first gear for a couple days or whatever. And I think it's like I love the idea of intentional expansion and intentional rest. And
Yeah.
even post recovery, right? Being like, I am intentionally going to go out and for me, like go do open mic, be super social, come home at 10:30, have to wind down, maybe go to sleep a little bit later than I normally would, so on and so forth. So that the next day, I'm like, I'm intentionally going to take it slower. I'm going to eat some foods that are maybe a little more less, risque food or whatever, a little easier to digest. Make sure I'm drinking more water, maybe take a nap, those kind of things, right? Like intentionally doing things in that way,
Mhm.
which I think is
Yeah,
just pretty
exactly.
general good human practice in general. But
Yeah, yeah, and, that I call that just strategy, you're putting
mm,
yourself in the best position to feel your best. It's no different than an athlete being on some kinda workout plan, and they go really hard one day, and the next 3 days, it's like a deload day, or in training cycles, for
oh,
powerlifters
totally,
or
yeah,
professionals, it's like a deload week. Even they do that. They'll load up their nervous system, just, like, hit it hard, and then do a deload week for maybe a week where now they're focusing on like yoga and ice baths and all this stuff.
oh
So
yeah, man, that's such a good.
very, very similar.
I think that's something I'm really going to focus on for me personally. Even you bring it up, like just really intentionally doing things.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's like thriving health right there, because the way I look at it, like for example, um, I was in Hawaii last December for some like personal development seminar. And then we finish up, it was like 2 days. We finish up and it's like 12 hours a day. Right. So I'm a bit jet lagged as well. But after the second day, I think it finishes at like 10 p.m. Then I realize I'm like, wait, there's the Hawaii marathon tomorrow, actually in like 7 hours. And I was like, that would be cool if I could run that. Zero training, anything like that. So, anyways, long story short, I jumped into that. I didn't run the full marathon, but I ran 10 kilometers on like 3 hours
Wow.
of sleep. And I knew that, okay, because I just put so much pressure on my nervous system, I don't feel symptoms or anything, but I feel a little bit more tired. Let's actually be smart about this and let's kind of chill or at least take it a bit easier for
Mm.
the next few days. Now, I did end up hiking like every day after that to watch the sunrise, but aside from that hike, it was just chilling all day on the beach. And that was part of my strategy of like, let's hit the gas pedal hard and then dial it back, or like stretching the rubber band, stretching it pretty dang far, and then letting it contract, stretching it, contract. Every time you stretch it out, you go a bit further. But like something like that, I still apply that principle to my life even these days. Yeah. So I still apply that to my life. Like I'll go really hard one week, like work a ton. I'll actually try to break my own records. I'm like, okay, this day we got to go 12 hours or 13 hours or something. That's about my max. And then after a few days of that, I'll really take it easy. I'll like go to the
Mm.
beach. I'll play guitar. I love playing guitar as well.
Nice.
Love nature. So it's like this, I look at it like an accordion, it's
Oh
goes
yeah.
out and in, but that accordion gets bigger and bigger every time, every cycle. That's kind of how I look at expanding activity.
Do you know what I love about
Stretch
that analogy? An
what?
accordion always makes music if you're expanding or if it's,
Oh, that's a
contracting.
really good analogy. Yeah, that's a
So
really,
you're
really
always making that music and it's always flowing.
yeah,
It's good
I
stuff.
love that.
That's definitely gonna
And
stick in my head.
yeah, and then if you turn that accordion sideways, that's how I used to think about it. That capacity, like your stress
Oh yeah.
threshold, like you push the limit a little bit and bring it back, gets bigger and bigger. It's kind of like a sideways or upright accordion, basically. So yeah, man, who would have thought a year and a half later or even a year later, like when you're in the trenches of this, that you'd be playing music, doing all this stuff, new job. Like it's like
It's a whole new
a
life.
whole new
And there's
life.
other stuff. there's other stuff. There's other big changes that I have to keep to myself, but
Yeah,
there's
yeah, yeah.
other really, really good things, just big life changes, that I think it's all for the better, which is really
I
cool.
think
It doesn't feel like it, but it's strange. The more that we embrace the healing process, like true healing, because this is not just a physical healing thing. It is mostly a mental healing thing and spiritual healing. Like we are healing things from deep, 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 deep. Um,
mhm.
and that's humbling, man. It's hard to swallow and be honest with ourselves that a lot of the sickness comes from just the way that we approach and think about life, and having to be really honest with ourselves in that process. I'm sure a lot of people really mentally struggle with that, and I bet you that's what keeps people from even hitting, like, even crossing that first bar, and just not being
Mhm.
able to accept that it's this, because it sucks. No one wants to hear it's in your head, dude. No one wants someone to come and be like, because it makes you feel crazy. But the reality is, like, this it is a mental game, and it's
Mhm.
going to take a
Yeah.
really, like, having to be the best part is that the worst of it you can clear really quickly with a lot of
Yeah.
dedication. Like, you can get your life back in a really efficient amount of time. The hard part is sticking to it and remaining patient and giving yourself the grace.
The way you interpret, these sensations in your body, because I mean, the first year out of the hospital, even though I was very, very functional, like I could keep up with everybody else, but I was still feeling some stuff here and there. And I think what really helped me was I didn't even identify as having CFS anymore. It was a hypersensitive nervous system.
Mm.
So as soon as I changed the label, I just felt a lot less broken,
Oh, yeah.
essentially.
I think even Junior mentioned that. He was like, I'm not sick anymore. I'm not sick. I have
Yeah.
some nervous system issues that I am working through, but I am not sick at all."
Yeah. We're just fine tuning things. We're optimizing it. It's like a Like, can you really say there's a perfect car? I guess you could. Some cars are epic, right? But here, it's almost like getting the car running again. We're fine tuning this, fine tuning that,
Mm.
and then you get up to a new speed. Like everything is running smooth when you're going 20 miles an hour. That's good. Then you get up to 30. Okay, it's squeaky here, squeaky there. All right, let's fine tune that. Let's take some time. You get up to 50, same thing. And then you're cruising at 50. It's comfortable. It's good. Then you go to 100. Oh, now the wheels loose and stuff. So as you increase the speed, I guess, in life, as you increase your pace of life, there's going to be things that are a little wonky, a little squeaky, right? Especially if it's been a while since you've been doing a lot of things, but you
Yeah,
just
that's a really
fine
good
tune
point.
it. Yeah. Or sometimes you have to slow down or like pull over to the side, make those changes, make those updates, and then you're back on the road. But you do have to take the time to slow down and fix it up a little bit. It's never just like, all right, the car's running again. Let's go 200 miles an hour. Like that's how you crash, right? That's how you
Oh,
blow
good
the car
point.
up.
Man, you know what else is really great about that analogy is that sometimes those noises can be really annoying. Just
Very
like
annoying.
symptoms, right? Symptoms can feel really annoying. Like, there are times where I'd be driving, or like I'd be at home knowing that I had an open mic that night and being like, maybe I shouldn't go. And I'd be like, nope, 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 nope. I do not care that I'm feeling slightly symptomatic. I am fully capable of going. Or maybe it's showing up as I'm getting there because my nerves are
Yeah.
spiking a little bit and some symptoms start showing up. And I'm like, that makes me, as long as I'm not like a 10 or whatever. I mean, I don't get a 10 anymore, but I mean, like, as long as I'm
It's
not
manageable.
yeah, it's still manageable. I'm like, I'm going to push myself through because it's too important, and to constantly prove ourselves to that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I'm the same way. Like when I have to get up in front of a bunch of people in the physical world, like Zoom is fine. I'm totally fine with that. Um, but I've done talks with, like full theaters, just about like business and marketing and, CFS recovery. But I remember before that talk, this was like a year ago or two, and I was good. I was very functional. Like I was running CFS recovery, but my heart was pounding. It felt like my heartbeat was in my throat.
Yeah.
My throat was getting tight. I was getting dizzy. I was getting ringing in my ears, but it was more so like stage fright kind of thing. But I was like, no, I have to do this and I'm fully capable. It's just it's kind of like that leading up to jumping out of the airplane with a parachute kind of thing. For skydiving, that's what the feeling was. And then once I got on stage, it was like, okay, within 5 minutes I'm good to go. But even
Can I give you
I
some
wouldn't
really
say
good
that.
stage fright advice?
Yes.
I heard this amazing thing where it's like, "Don't make it about ourselves, make it about them."
Mm,
Because when we make it about ourselves and about us needing to perform at a high level and setting these, like, unrealistic expectations and bars for ourselves, and we being like, "Why am I doing this?" Right? Like, when I play music, I want to share it with others so that they may
mm,
connect with it. It's about them. I'm serving them. I'm not serving myself in this moment. I mean, I am to a degree, right? Like, it does serve me in very specific ways, but the message, the entertainment, I'm sharing it with other people. And so it's like, here's this thing that I made that I want to give to
that
you.
makes sense.
And the same for you. Like if you're sharing information with others, you're helping people, like just remove our egos and move ourselves from the situation and make it all about them. And all of a sudden it's just like, the energy changes. It's a huge, good shift.
That makes a lot of sense. The go there to give, not to take.
Yes.
And that probably takes a lot of the pressure off, the pressure to perform. You just go there to give people a good experience. And that's kind of, naturally, that's kind of what happened. Like within 5 to 10 minutes, I saw people smiling. They were getting value out of it. They were nodding their head. I'm like, wow, they're getting a lot out of this. So I slowed down,
Yeah.
try to
Slow
bring
down.
more of them into try to get the head nods going. And it was really fulfilling, and
Slowing
sometimes the
down
most
in general. Yeah. Slowing down in general, just like I try to be more intentional, be more present, right? Like
yes. Yeah.
I have a thing where, like, just the safety issue, right? It could even be if I'm around someone, like, new, and I will start to feel unsafe because I'm having a positive reaction, like, experience with them, and it's weird that I'm like, "Oh, I really like this person. This is a really positive thing for me," but for some reason, alarms are going off because for whatever reason, and I have to be like, bring the emotions down, neutralize, and just be present in the moment. Just listen to what they're saying. Don't get all up in here, and
Mhm.
being more
Mm,
intentional and more present is like a huge thing for me in general that helps me a
yeah.
ton.
Oh, yeah, yeah, and the coaches do this really well. Junior does this really well, just controlling his pace. He'll slow down. He'll
Dude, he's
borderline, like,
ridiculous,
whisper
man.
things into the mic, but it hits. It hits, It's he doesn't need to yell it or speak fast or over explain it, but he'll just say a few one-liners, and you're like, "Wow, that that makes sense." So, yeah, man, this has been an amazing chat. And anything else you want to share with people who are like towards that last little bit of recovery? They're a few steps behind you, where they feel this pull to do certain activities or get back into the world because you're doing it right now. You're living that. So, any advice for these folks?
Yeah. Practice listening to your intuition, that little voice inside.
Yeah.
I think when we're sick, we spend that voice kind of gets completely muted and goes away, because it's not really an option at that point. We're just in such a survival mode that the opportunity to have an intuition, I think, gets dampened. So it's like we're not used to trusting it or listening to it.
Mhm.
Um, and so when things pop up, like stop saying no. Stop saying no. Like show up, be curious, be interested, allow yourself to get excited about things again. Um, and do your best to just like pushing through the fear of what if I get symptomatic or what if I have like a really heavy recovery time afterward. Like it's okay, take it slow, go through it. Like there are opportunities waiting for you and you will become so much stronger because of it.
Mhm. I couldn't have said that better. That's what I would have said. It's learn to learn to listen to your intuition and trust yourself. And that intuition starts to come back around those later stages of recovery. Because for the longest time, we kind of give up on our own intuition because it usually led to us overdoing stuff or in a crash or whatever. So that does come back. And eventually it'll get to a point where you are fully confident with the decision making, and the goal is kind of like what you're doing right now, Eric. You feel that call to action, that call to adventure. You know how your body works, you know what to look out for. And even though it's uncomfortable, you step into it because you trust yourself, and you can listen to that intuition. And you also know, like, there's probably so many ideas, but you're like, okay, that idea's that that's good. Maybe down the road, let's do that. But this one, I definitely want to pursue this right now in this chapter. So yeah, this has been amazing. So powerful, man. And keep on crushing it with the skateboarding and producing the
Yeah,
music.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, let us
Here's
know.
I
Yeah.
think this is the most one of the most important things, and this will be the last thing for me,
Yeah.
is we have I think we all have a job to do in this life. There's a part of us to share with the world. And the longer that we fear that part of us, we are preventing the world and other people from getting to know, and for our own selves getting to know that person, right? Like if I never went through the program, I wouldn't have written music. I wouldn't have met all these amazing new people that I have. I wouldn't have had this new job. I like my life has transformed completely in a year and a half. I completely flipped on its head, and every single thing that I have is better. That's my relationships. My relationship with my children is infinitely better. My romantic relationships, my friendships, literally every aspect of my life is improved for showing up by showing up for myself. And now I have the ability to show up for the world again. And like just we can't be selfish. It's selfish for us to to hold that back from the world, because we all have this beautiful gift to share, and in so many different ways. So yeah, that's
That's
my last
beautiful,
thing.
man. That is beautiful. And that's so true. Because once we get healthy, it's not all about us. It's about what can we give back to the world. And going through an experience like this, it's not just going to help you, it's going to help you show up in the world, and impact others, like creating music, bringing that entertainment to other people, bring those feel good vibes. I always believe that even when I was in the trenches of this stuff, that there was a purpose for this. And it wasn't just for me. This is going to be for all the people I meet in the future.
Dude, what happens if you don't recover?
Yeah,
Think about that.
exactly.
That's crazy. The
I
hundreds,
know.
thousands of people that you've impacted at this point,
I think about
like
that sometimes, you know.
that it's like this ever expanding thing, not just expanding yourself, but helping other people expand as well. That's
Yeah,
such a cool thought, man.
it's wild. It's like, you know, every single person's recovery, it's like a domino effect that's going to affect hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people down the road. So for you guys watching this right now, just keep on going. And if you are in the trenches, or you're struggling, keep on going, because you matter. And at some point when you're back in the world, this will all start to make sense, but you won't understand until you get there. Once you do have that realization, though, it's pretty cool once you see how life does come together for you. And this was all part of your unique journey. But don't ever stop. Keep watching videos like this. Keep trying to implement a lot of these principles, because of course, knowledge knowledge is useless without implementing it. Knowledge is power when it is implemented. So hope you guys enjoyed this one. This is the 1 year update from our thriver, Eric. Absolutely crushing it in life. And I'm so excited to see where you are in the next 12 months,
I
all the
know
growth that
we
might
should
come.
we'll do it next November. We should do that.
100%. Definitely. And, we might be seeing you at the next Thriver meetup, because that's
Oh,
going to
I'm
be in the
going.
US.
If it's where you say it's going to be, like I will be there for sure.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be epic. So for you guys watching this right now, just keep on going. Always remember that you are a thriver, and you are just one mind shift away from living a life with thriving health. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Eric, thank you so much, man.
Thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely.
Bye, guys.
Let's say that CFS recovery is absolutely the real deal.
I actually felt like somebody had an answer, like somebody explained what was going on, and it all clicked.